So, game time. For those of you who have not been in here before, I hope you will look forward to this because this is courtesy of that man right there. See that name? Nedowin, right there. That guy. There he is right there again. That guy produced what you were about to see. Prepare to be awed by this. Dun, dun, dun. The Fighting Fantasy game books, people. Prepare to be awed. Okay. Not odd, but odd. That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. All right, give me a second while I get this all arranged. All right. So, yes, this is Nedowin's proprietary program that he developed for me because he's awesome. And it is his programming and design, and it's been through several iterations, basically. There's been quite a bit of it that we've done. So, it has been good stuff. Okay. I got the poll command ready in my clipboard. Okay. And good times. All right. We are good to go. Okay, people. So, the way this is going to work is the poll. Let me see if Lawkeeper Bot has got the poll thing working. Does anybody know, is the Lawkeeper Bot poll system functional at the moment? Refinements, yes, yes. Yes, indeed. It's actually choose one or two. Yeah, we had a big show. We had a big turnout, gentlemen. Yeah, it was fun times. Yay! Okay, the poll system works. All right, people. So here we go. Now, the way this works for those of you who have not been here before is you guys are playing through. So actually, can I see a show of hands? I know some of you guys played this with me a couple of nights ago, and many of you are regulars and have played this before. How many people in chat have never played this game with me before? I've not this specific book, but I mean they've never played a Fighting Fantasy game book with me before. I know I've got some new folks here from Shadowrun and elsewhere. So how many people have not done this with me before? Okay, so Mystaria hasn't. UGplex hasn't. Messiah hasn't. Evil Jawas. Possibly Firehawk. Possibly. Kate Canary. Nice. Red Sniper. Ah, see, I love it. I love it. Thank you guys for those of you who came. I'm glad that some of you guys stuck around too. I understand Shadowrun is a big draw, but I'm glad that some people stuck around as well. Let me pop up my music, by the way. I need to have music for this. And I think we're going to have my boy Smooth McGrew. Nope, nope, nope. Too loud. Too loud. Okay. I love this guy. I love Smooth McGrew. I understand, Rogan. No problem, man. Get some sleep, dude. Thanks for stopping by, dude. All right, here we go. So the way this works, guys, is the way that this works. Oh, very cool, Miss Daria. So I understand that too, Parker. Thanks, dude, for stopping by regardless. Okay, so here's how we go. By the way, Lego is our dice roller, and Lego has just bought, I don't know if you still have the link to the picture, but Lego has bought dice from the store. He just bought it. So the way this works is that you guys actually play as this character. Chat decides everything through voting as to what it is that you guys want to do. fighting involves Lego rolling for various things, basically Lego rolling for various items. I try not to step in except for occasional recommendations and suggestions, more or less as reminders about things that you guys need to keep in mind. We have gone through 10 of these so far successfully, and so we are now on to book 11. Incidentally, this is the last white-covered book. Starting with the next book, they were all dark covers. So then we got, like, you know how, like, every football team has to have, like, black uniforms now? And they all have to, like, even if their colors are actually green and orange or something like that, they all have to be completely, you know, black now. That's basically what this is like as well. So, and yes, I've had the folks on from Tin Man Games on several times. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So, that is what we are looking at. Found this site, free browser integrated DOS emulator with a ton of games ready to play. I tested myself. Free browser integrated. Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome, man. Cool. All right. So, we are going to be playing this right now. So far, what we know is that you guys have been sucked into this world. And what happened is the minions of death are trying to get Death to re-enter the world in the living plane. And if he does that, if he does move into the living plane, then that will basically cause the end of everything. So they sent a team to the bottom of this place called the Rift, a bunch of adventurers. Only a few survived, but they managed to actually get the Talisman of Death out, and they gave it to you, our character, Silmara Highrest, just as the thing started. When you guys came out of the world, when they managed to teleport you to the surface, you now have to figure out how to get back to your world with the Talisman. If you can get back to your world with a Talisman, it means that you will keep Death from being able to open up a rift and doing all these terrible things. So with that said, you guys decided to head across to a large city. You went through a forest where you encountered a Grendel monster. It was called Grendel. You defeated the Grendel, and you also managed to avoid a basilisk as well. Oh, it's the same when you mentioned... Okay, cool, Dragonspear. Yes, so that's basically the idea. Death by name or death by metaphor. Death by name. He's just called Death. That's the deal. Let's see. So that's the deal with that. So far, what you guys have is you have a sword, you have leather armor, a backpack, a potion of fortune, talisman of death, and you have a golden apple. Sorry, apples. That was given to you by a druid named Woadman. That you discovered in that forest that you guys went through. Now, the only thing I want to recommend to you guys here is that you have provisions, and you guys see that you have 8 of these provisions. Right now, you have 11 out of 15 stamina. Your stamina is the big problem. You guys did not roll well there. So 15 stamina is pretty bad. And you already have 11 left. So every time you eat a provision, you get back 4 hit points or 4 stamina points. But you can only eat 1 per entry, and you can't eat 1 in combat. So what I wanted to recommend, it is basically the same thing. It's actually one of those books, Mystaria, for sure. So what I wanted to recommend was that you guys consider eating one of those provisions to get yourself up to full stamina now that we're on a new entry. What's up, Batty? So the question is, and I just realized I have to change the stream title because I didn't do that yet. Let me go change the stream title. So let me know, do you guys want to eat the provision or not? We don't need a poll for this. Just tell me if you guys want to eat the apples or not. Oh my god, Apple's changed his name to Golden. Oh my god, it's now Apple's his Golden Apple. Poor Apples. Poor Apples. Man, 2,730 followers. We blew past 2,700. Poor Apples. Poor Apples. Also, thanks for the host to Series Runner and IAK. Thanks, guys. Okay. That's true. Let's see. Eat the apples. Apples. Eat the... Well, you don't have to eat the apples. All you have to do is eat the provision. All you have to do is eat a provision. It's not eat apples. No. It's whether you want to eat a provision. You're not eating the apples yet. What's up, Gross? It's about whether you want to eat the apple. I mean, whether you want to eat the provisions, not the apple. So fear not. Okay, I've now changed the stream title. All right, see you, Parker. There's the poll I want you to answer. Eat provisions or don't eat? So, see, apples, chat cares about you so much that they care about you so much that they chose not to eat you. Now, if your name was Provisions, you'd be screwed, but, Provisions. All right, we're going to close this poll down in any second. Hey, what's up, Optic? What's going on, man? Optic, are we going to see you tomorrow night, man? I hope. I hope, please. I hope. Okay. Okay. So it looks like chat wants to eat a provision. Okay, 7. Okay, you guys are now up to your maximum of 15. Woohoo! Okay. Well, yeah, I understand, man. I guess just let me know as soon as you can, though, because I don't know. Let me know, is all I guess I would say. But it's good to see you, man. All right, so here we go. As I get this picture up, chat, the time has come. You have eaten a provision. Are you ready to recommence Talisman of Death? Are you ready? Talisman of Death, Talisman of Death, Talisman. Talisman. Talisman, talisman. 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 4. You get 4 points of stamina with each provision, Dragon. Looks like I don't have a picture of that. It's too bad. Okay. All right, let's do it up, people. Here we go. It is suitable music. All right, here we go. Eventually the hills give way to a desolate gray moor stretching out to the west. After half an hour or so, you see a cloud of dust ahead. You can soon make out a group of 20 horsemen. Actually, I wonder if this shows it that way. Does it show horsemen? No, it doesn't show horsemen. That's a shame. Okay. So you see a group of 20 horsemen. It's an extended edition, Gross. So you can soon make out a group of 20 horsemen. They wheel their steeds towards you, and the drumming of hoofs carries to you over the breeze. As they get nearer, you can see that this is a band of warrior women, clad in chainmail and studded leather armor. Their faces look grim and unwelcoming as they wheel around you, forming a closed circle. So here, people, here is what you see. I don't have a picture of it, I'm afraid, so you're going to have to bear with me. That's what you see. Probably not an MMO, Netowin, I'm afraid. I don't think so. Although I have actually played Lord of the Rings online, but probably not. But, I mean, we are going to play a lot of the other games, including possibly playing a co-op version of even, like, Temple of Elemental Evil, if we can figure out a way to make that work. So, the captain spurs her horse forward and tersely demands what you are doing out here alone on the edge of the moor. Will you, here we go, will you tell them about your quest? That's choice number 1. Will you say that you are from another world? That's choice number 2. Will you say that you are the last survivor of an ambushed caravan? That's choice number 3. Will you say, pretend that you are deaf and dumb, i.e. mute? Or will you demand that they escort you to Grey Guilds on the Moor, which is the city that you're going to? So your choices are, tell them about your quest. Choice 2 is say that you are from another world. Choice 3 is survivor of an ambush caravan. Or demand they escort you to Grey Guilds. There you go. So those are your choices. Tell them about your quest. Say that you are from another world. Survivor of an ambushed caravan. Pretend you are deaf and dumb. Or demand they escort you to Grey Guilds. No pillow fight with him. And we have been very, very bad. And you must tickle each of us. Oh, God. Oh, I don't. You can't see all of it, can you? Let me fix that. There we go. There are your choices. This is a tough one. I mean, like, this many choices in one option is tough. Very, very tough. What are you going to tell these people, chat? What are you going to tell them? It's a good question. It's not older than me. But it is an older book. Copyright 1985. I was 13 when this book came out. This is in the days when the old Caldor... You guys probably don't even know what a Caldor is now. Caldor was like a Kmart, which in itself was like a Walmart. Or a really crappy Target. But Caldor used to sell these books. I actually got some of the sorcery books at a Caldor's. Saying I'm an alien. What's up, Cherubi? Exactly. If mounted warrior women can't respect a quest, who will, right? Exactly. Ba, 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 ba. Cat ate canary. Nice. Sure I was, Lego, yeah. Man, the freaking mid-80s, man. That decade, man. That's a good question. I don't know that I know that. "5 years before you were born." That's cool. Okay. All right. Let's see what we've got. Oh, we've got a tie. We've got a tie between Last Survivor of Ambushed Caravan and Pretend to be Deaf and Mute. Okay. So... Last Survivor of Ambushed Caravan. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to divide it to these two. Normally, they're not going to have that many choices available. But in this case, I will break it down and let you guys vote again. So, now what I would like you guys to do is just vote between those two. Either, do you want to say Survivor of an Ambushed Caravan or Pretend You're Deaf or Dumb? Can we make another poll just for those two choices, please? Survivor of an Ambushed Caravan or Pretend You Were Deaf and Dumb? Those are your two choices. I like these choices. I like these choices a lot. All right. That's an awesome one, Jen. I like that. All right. This is almost like the beginning of Mass Effect. Were you a survivor on a planet? Were you a member of the military? Lawkeeper bot runs on Law's machine, which I need to eventually. I want to get a bot onto my machine just in case, but yeah, I believe it runs on his machine. Yeah, it's true. MacGyver was the 80s. Oh, Messiah. All right, last call, people. Last call. Last call here, people. That's not true, Law, because there's sometimes where your internet goes out or something like that. You were created in the 80s? Nice, Mysteria. Choice 3, throw a Hadoken. All right, here we go. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, survivor it is. Okay, so you tell them that you were a last survivor of an ambushed caravan. Where did the caravan come from? The spires of foreshadowing, perhaps? Demands the captain of the patrol. Where will you say that the caravan came from? Did it come from the spires? Did it come from the city of the runes of doom? Or did it come from Saracub? So where did it come from, folks? Did it come from the spires? Did it come from the city of the runes of doom? Or did it come from Saracub? That is correct. Nobody has any idea where any of those locations are. So you gotta use your noodle. There's no background on each, UGA Plux. That's the thing. You guys are strangers to this world. So when she said, where's the caravan from? Then you're kind of like, So you're gonna have to make your best guess as to what you guys think. Exactly, gent. Exactly. Exactly. That's why you don't lie if you can't lie. You see? Exactly. So she's like, so she comes riding up to you, and she's like, where are you from? You're like, I am from a destroyed caravan. She's like, where did it come from? You're like, that's an excellent question. I'll tell you exactly where it came from. I know exactly where that caravan came from, and the caravan came right from there. And, so... I sound like Butthead. He said, but. Yeah. I do. I was actually, Red Sniper was actually talking about this. I actually do have a couple of the Lone Wolf books, and they have all of them online as some kind of Lone Wolf project. The whole history of the Lone Wolf series is a little confusing about who published it at what time. I liked Lone Wolf. I didn't like them as much, I think, as the Fighting Fantasy game books, but I might take a break from the Fighting Fantasy game books at some point and do that again, possibly. So, you slept when the caravan passed the last city. There you go. Yes. In fact, I'll show you, Red Sniper. I showed these last night, but I'll show you again. These are the new hardcover ones of those. Flight from the Dark. And, Smoke on the Water. No, it's Fire on the Water is the second one. And actually, Mystaria, you may know about this. This right there, people. You guys see that? I bought that at Green Lake Games. Green Lake Games is near Seattle, Washington. It's where, it's actually in Green Lake, Washington, where we go reasonably often when we're out there, because my wife is from Seattle, so we go out there a fair amount. And, yeah, it's a good game store. If you guys ever have a chance to go there, it's cool stuff, so. Sort of. They're not video games. They're more like sort of online transcriptions of these, sort of. They're closer to Tin Man games, so. Arson hit. Yeah. All right, so let's close that poll. Looks like Sarah Cub is winning. Right, that's right. Okay, Sarah Cub wins out. So you guys came up with the random one. You're like, Sarah Cub. She looks at you and runs you through. No, I'm just kidding. She doesn't do that. She says, the captain nods and says, we will escort you safely to Grey Guilds. These moors are well known for brigands. Perhaps you would like to ride behind Elvira here. She points to one of the younger women. You thank her and accept a helping hand up, thankful to rest your legs. Elvira does not seem too pleased at having to share her horse with you, and you ride across the wilderness in silence. You ride on into the late afternoon, moving from the wilderness to a gray and desolate moor. Ahead you can see the walls of a large city. A salute is given as you approach the huge arched gate in the fortified wall. The captain tells you to dismount and sends you on your way. All right, good job, guys. Now, at this point, it would be helpful for people. I know Kilobyte, who's our usual mapper, is not here. But if people are able to get a basic sort of mapping, which basically just means as you walk into the city, even if someone would be good enough to just, like, trace out, okay, you're here, then you go here, then you go here, like the choices that you guys make, that would be helpful. It's not a requirement. No one has to do it. But it's just record keeping for you guys. I can't do that because I'm busy running the game, but just something to think about. So, good job. You walk into the city along a street called Moorgate. Many of the buildings are quite grand, built of light gray stone. The streets are crowded with a mixture of people shopping and young men and women carrying books and scrolls. Will you walk down a continuation of Moorgate called Store Street, or turn left into Smith Street? There it is. Save game. Well, we're sort of in that point anyway. Page 296. That's a good idea, though. I'll add that as a save point. So there you go. You're going to walk down Store Street or turn left into Smith Street. The poll. There it is. It's the most accurate street name. Let's buy some equipment on Smith Street. Yeah, right. So presumably, I mean, you don't know. Maybe it's a blacksmith. Maybe you walk down Blacksmith Street. You walk down Smith Street and you find just like blacksmiths all over the place. And maybe you walk down Store Street and you just have a bunch of delicatessens and like a, you know, a rundown Walmart. I mean, you have no idea. This poll system is getting to work, Outlaw. You get mugged on the way to the store. All right, last call, people, last call. Yeah, there is a mapping system which I've seen used, which Kilobyte typically uses, but... Oh, will I one day write a gaming book? It's funny you mentioned that, Nedwin, because I actually talked to a few people about that. The guy who got me, who's a friend of mine, is a writer friend of mine, Dylan Bertolo, actually got me hooked up with the guys from Tin Man Games. And so I've chatted with them a little bit about it. I mean, they're like way overbooked in terms of books they have. I might be interested in doing something like that, or turning one of my books into a game book. I could see that. It'd be pretty cool. I don't know that he's... I'm pretty sure that it's as far... Because, I mean, all it is basically just... I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm going to get a copyright claim on it. I suppose it's possible. But I didn't do it until after these things. I don't think it's a problem because it's still only just game, you know, information and game codes. So... Oh, wow! Optic, did you just get Enhanced Edition? Is that true, Optic? You just got Enhanced Edition? All right, you guys wanted to go into Smith Street. Oh my God, Mystaria, wow. It looks like a Castle Arcanum was an old MUD I used to play back in the day. Way back in the day. All right, Smith Street it is. You stride down Smith Street. Next door to a tinker shop, you see what appears to be an armorer's. Do you wish to go into the armorer's or pass by? So, go into the armorer's. You want to go into the armorer's or pass on by? Oh, wow. Glog got it for him? Wow. Badass, man. So is that true? His Smith Street shows to be full of people with the name Smith. Hello, Smith. Smith. No, actually, you know what it is, Kat? Everyone on that street is named Jones. And when they all turn out to be Jones and you're like, you live on Smith Street, they say yes, and then you just look at them and they look at you and you're like... And you just stare at each other. Oh my God, he's got Brinstar acapella on this? Oh, I gotta listen to that. That's cool. Wait, what's this? I'm sorry. What did you say? What did you say? Shadowrun Mush is nice. What did you say, Mysteria? You met Duinade within Gemstone 3. We both played it and met in 2000? Oh, right. And Duinade and you are a thing, right? That's where you guys met? That's awesome. That's really cool. Glog said his typical check your Steam inbox. Wow. Glog, thanks so much, Glog. That's really nice of you, man. Typical Glog being Glog, man. Santa Glog. And then poor Jones has run out of time, right, Cat? So far, you have not died. Congratulations, Mistari. That's awesome. Really, really cool. Congratulations. So it worked out. No wonder you're a gamer, Mysteria. It fits. Okay. All right. Poll close. Okay. Everyone, pretty much everybody wanted to go into the armor. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. You're going to go in. Inside, working at an anvil, is a brawny man glistening with sweat. He is fashioning the hilt of a sword. Other finished swords stand in a rack along one side of the shop. Take your pick. 7 gold pieces, he says without looking up. Do you want to buy a sword or thank him and leave? So it's 7 gold pieces. Do you want to buy the sword? Or do you want to thank him and leave? There we go. Buy a sword or thank him and leave. Nice. That's how you experience your weekends in kindergarten? Nice. You do have a sword. Maybe you can dual wield swords. I don't know. You do have a sword. You have 10 gold. I would point out that you don't want to just use money for no reason, though. I mean, you do have a sword already. I'm just letting you know. Doesn't mean you can't, but just keep that in mind. You don't want to just waste gold for no reason. Just keep that in mind. Just saying. I take it back. Lone Wolf told me not to waste gold. That's true. Put it in 2. Okay, Dragon Spear, I will. Okay, so it's fine. It's fine. You guys decided to leave anyway. Okay, so you decide to leave. As you leave, he says, he laughs as he takes Excalibur and puts it... No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't do that. Okay, you guys leave. You continue on down Smith Street. There are no shops here, and the street is deserted except for a stooping, cowled figure who looks like a beggar. He comes up to you and suddenly draws himself up to his full height, and you guys see this. Hang on, I know there's a picture of this one. Alright, you guys see this. Hold on as I get you this thing. Bear with me as I show you the picture of what you see. You are not prepared for what you are about to see. What? Oh, that's because... Okay, hold on a second. I was doing the wrong one. I was like, what the hell? There we go. Sorry, guys. I thought I had this picture captured, but I didn't. There we go. This is what you see. Okay. This is what you see. Inside the cowl there is nothing. No face, just two glowing coals suspended in blackness. Your horror at this apparition turns to dread as it hisses in a sibilant whisper. Did you think you could run from death? Give me the talisman. A black-gloved claw reaches out towards you. Do you say that you no longer have the talisman, or attack this thing immediately? Do you say that you no longer have the talisman, or do you attack it immediately? Hey, what's up, multi-boxing? What's going on, Tim? How you doing, man? All right, there's the poll. Go ahead and vote. Evil Jawas need 2 swords. Talisman of Death. That's right. Yeah, you missed the interview earlier on with the Harebrained Schemes folks. Tim, it was pretty badass. It was awesome. I was really glad they could come out. We had a great turnout. Sam, people walk in single columns. Yeah, it was a good time. Nice. Somehow this music is not fitting with this guy. I have this image of him like sitting there waiting for your vote, and he's just playing like. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's right. That's what this was. The Shadowrun guys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was good though. You had 200 people in here, so. I don't want to start telling the truth now. It's consistency. All right, last call, people. The sliders are, let me show you. They're to show you as you get votes. It shows you, like, what the percentage is of the overall vote. That's another thing that Netawin came up with, which is a cool idea. All right, looks like we're attacking. All right. Looks like we are attacking. All right, people. You catch it by surprise and strike it a mighty blow. It hisses in rage and pain. It comes at you with its claws. You must fight the minion of death. Each time it strikes you, here's the bad news, it draws your life force, so you lose 1 skill point as well as the normal stamina loss. So every time it strikes you, it draws your life force. So that means the time has come, people, for battle. The good news is that he's not a giant. There we go. Minion of death. Fight! Okay, now the way that the fights work in this game, the way that combat works in this game, is Lego is your dice roller. And so the way that it's going to work is... Orko. Yeah, Game Ranger is finished, thank God. Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Law. All right, so the way it's going to work is Lego is going to roll a 6-sided die. Actually, 2 6-sided dice, I mean. He's going to roll 2 6-sided dice. When he rolls those 2 6-sided dice, he's going to add them to his skill, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the Minion of Death and add it to his skill. Whoever has the highest score will take 2 points of stamina damage off of the other. If he hits you, though, as I just said, you will also lose a skill point. So that's the deal. There you go, Night Lake. So here he goes, people. Hey, what's up, Zara? Let's make it happen. Lego, if you would make that first roll, please. All right, 9. So, added to the skill score, it means you got a 17. That means he needs a 10 to tie and 11 to beat. And he gets a 7. You dodge his claw, strike a sword, you know, slash your sword across his side. You hear a... All right, next round. Next round against the Minion of Death. Roll number 2. Surprise attacks are 100% effective against me. That's true. I should do that, Net. That'd be pretty funny. 12! Damn! So he, like, comes in, he gets a 6. He comes in, he, like, rah, and you're just like, whoosh-ow! No, only if he hits you. You only go down a skill each round only if he hits. So you nimbly dodge, you, like, drag your sword across his side. Rawr, you hear. There's a moaning screech that echoes across the deserted... All right. So he's down to 1 stamina. You see his robe is in tatters. He sort of staggers towards you, claw outstretched. Sorry, Mystaria, they're fighting a Minion of Death. All right, Lego, let's see that roll. 9 and a 12. Those dice are serving you right. Another 9. Okay, so he needs a 10 to tie, 11 to beat. He gets a 4. You guys wrecked the Minion of Death. Wrecked it. Didn't even touch you. It slips to the ground. Your last blow meets no resistance. The gray cloak billows to the ground in a heap. All is silent except for a sudden keening of the wind. You rest and begin to overcome the shock to your system. If you've lost any skill points, all but 1 are restored. But you didn't lose any skill points, because that's how it is when you're badass. Shrek'd. It says access denied. I can't see that awesome thing, Thorg. What's up with Intent? Hey, Arcades. Good job, Somara. Well done. Okay. So, Minion of Death, dead. Dead and dead. Dead and dead. No, it wasn't actually death. Jay. I mean, Tim, that's funny. Oh, thank you, thank you. All right, cautiously you move on, coming to Silver Street. So whoever's doing, and I'm sure somebody is, keeping rough track, you guys are now on Silver Street. Turning down Silver Street, you are startled by what sounds like men's voices whispering nearby. You soon realize that a trick of the wind is carrying their words to you through a broken piece of pipe, which connects a ramshackle house to an open drain. There are 3 of them, and it seems that they are planning to rob the jewelers, which you can plainly see on the bend of Silver Street. There is a shabby staircase leading up to the house, and you creep towards it. Will you go up the staircase? That's choice number 1. Go up the staircase. Choice number 2 is walk quickly to the jewelers. Choice number 3, ignore this and turn into Store Street. So go up the staircase. Or ignore this and turn into Store Street. That's a trick of the pipe. What's up, Red Lear? Preemptive strikes, 100% effective when it's effective. I know, right? I was just thinking that optic about like Ben Kenobi style, right? We are to death. We want jewels. Yes, these are weirdly named streets. I definitely agree with that. I totally agree with that. I'm going to skip that just because I don't want to get it muted if I can avoid it. By the way, is the music volume alright, guys? Is it too low or is it okay? Yeah, Cat 8 Canary, yep. Were you trying to figure out a way to pronounce the name like Cat 8 Canary or something like that? Okay. 125-pound dog. It's a good volume. You can't hear the music? Okay. All right, so... Okay, everyone wants to go to the jewelers. All right, jeweler time. So you guys walk quickly to the jewelers. Okay. So, you enter the jewelers. It seems to be curiously lacking in things of real value. The jeweler, a small man with a monocle, always gotta have a monocle if you're a jeweler, is just locking the large safe behind his counter. As he reaches for the closed sign before you have the chance to speak, the 3 thieves you overheard burst into the shop brandishing swords. Will you seek to get in with the thieves by capturing the jeweler, or leap to the jeweler's aid and attack the thieves? So basically, will you capture the jeweler or attack the thieves? Whoa, 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 whoa. There you go. All right, now you can vote. I love this one of theirs. I think I've talked to you about this one before, right, Series? If Series is still on. This one by Super Guitar Bros is my favorite, the Castlevania theme. I love this one. It's good stuff. Rock the Thieves into submission. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. I want to see what the stats are actually on this. I love those podcasts, Mystaria. I love them. Yes. One of my fanboy things is to try to get enough of these connections where I can actually get into a game with the people from, with the people... I would love to get into that with the people. Red Lear knows this. I'd love to be able to, like, if I could do a celebrity D&D game, not a celebrity like major celebrity, but like a D&D celebrity game, would totally love to get involved with one of the games with them. And I want Chris Perkins as the DM. As a guy who was DM'd myself for over 25 years, and I think I'm pretty good at it, Chris Perkins is a badass. I learned so much as a DM from him. It's amazing. He is so badass. All right. Really? Really? You guys want to capture the jeweler? Really? Okay. That's so funny. All right. The jeweler reaches for a sword behind the counter, but you are too quick for him. You grab the sword and hold its edge to his throat. He tenses up and says, "There's my safe. Take it all, but don't hurt me." He points to the safe at the back of the room. One of the thieves, a thin weasel of a man, binds the jeweler. You may keep the jeweler's sword if you wish. The other two, mean-looking thugs in brown breeches, look you over coolly. Will you demand your pick of the loot or ask for a small share of the booty? What do you mean, Bendups? We're just playing through the game is what we're doing. There you go, Dragon. Do you mean like in the book? What are you doing? You guys are in the city, and you overheard these guys planning a heist of the jeweler's shop, and so I guess you decided to go with the thieves. You've had Terry Brooks and R.A. Salvatore both read upcoming books to me. Actually, you know what? And I don't think this is revealing anything at this point. Terry Brooks is actually the guest of honor at Gen Con, the Writers' Symposium this year. And I am a member of said Writers' Symposium. And I've actually sat next to Bob. I talked to Bob for a while. Bob's a good guy. I talked to him at a signing that he was doing. And he actually, for a while, people were signing books, and he stopped to talk to me about some politics and stuff for about 5 minutes. It was pretty funny. So, but that's pretty awesome, man. Yes, this is Netowin's program. Netowin programmed this. So, this is him. It works out pretty well, I think. Also, you already defeated death, so I don't know why I still have the picture up there. My bad. There we go. Oh, awesome. Thanks for following, Red Sniper. I appreciate it, man. Have a good night. Oh, that's badass. Nice. Nice, Tim. That's awesome, man. Good stuff. Can I link the event I just mentioned? Yeah, don't Bendups, have you not ever played these with me, Bendups? You may not have been in here when I did this. Yeah, man. I've been doing this for a while. We've gone through 10 books of these. Not, I mean, in a row, but like I've done a lot of these things before. And yes, I can link it. Give me a second, Tim. There you go. Haha, thank you, MC. Appreciate it, Mr. Aria. Thank you, MC. Oh, wow, I didn't know that, Bendups. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Would you consider the fact that an open poll can be overwritten like that a bug? That's a good question. Yeah, there should be something done about that. Just something that would pop up and say there is already an open poll or something like that. Nice, man. Cool, Bendups. Okay, so let me close the poll. Alright, so you guys demand pick of loot. Alright. Here is your share of the loot, you insolent dog, shouts the biggest thug, attempting to bury his sword in your stomach. You jump aside and meet the attack of the two bruisers. As you do so, the weaselly thief mercilessly kills the jeweler. You must fight both thieves. Alright, now let me see if it gives you a point about that. Hold on a second. Okay, that's what I thought. Alright. So, you guys are going to have a little battle. A little battle time. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No problem. Of course I can do that, Tim. Gen Con is awesome. I've been a member of the Writer Symposium there for a long time. I'm going to be doing workshops there for people, for aspiring authors. I'm going to be on a bunch of panels with people, so it's my favorite con. I got my writing start there, so it's kind of important to me. The jeweler's daughter. Well, that's going to be hard to find out about the jeweler's daughter now that the jeweler's dead. That's all I got to say. I just wanted his precious jewels. So disappointed, chat. Alright, guys. So, now the time has come for the battle. Alright. So, let's make it happen, people. So, the way this works is, by the way, is that, you guys need to make a decision, first of all, before the roll starts. Oh, definitely. Definitely. For sure. For sure, man. So here's the deal. The way this works, guys, is that the two of them are fighting you at the same time. What that means is you have to choose one of these creatures. One of these guys you have to choose to fight as the one that you're going to be damaging. The other one you're going to be having a separate attack round against. But if you win, all that means is that you managed to, like, deflect their sword and not get hurt. It means that you did not, however... No, there's no thief that's female. Sadly. But it means that you don't actually get to do damage to that other thief. So you guys take a look at that and decide which thief do you want to be the one that you're actually doing damage to. Do you want to be damaging the first thief or the second thief? And there's two ways to look at it. One is, if you kill the second thief first, then you get him out of the way, and then you can just worry about the first thief. On the other hand, the first thief has more stamina. So basically what Shadow said, attack strong thief or attack the weak thief. Thank you, Shadow. Good job on the choices so far, Shadow. Go ahead and make choices, everybody. And Lego, get those dice ready, man. Hope the hot rolling continues. You did, but the jeweler's sword doesn't seem to be any better than the sword you already had. We want the Lego cam to know it's not rigged. Of course I am. Played quite a few of them when I was a kid, Multi. I don't have any old ones handy right now. I have a bunch of the I have a bunch of these fighting fantasy books. I might have a couple in my garage at the Choose Your Own Adventure, but all right, so everyone said to attack the strong thief. All right, so here we go. We are going to attack the strong thief. All right, let's make it happen. So Lego, go ahead and roll. And this is going to be against the strong thief to begin with. Is that true? Really? You'll see your name? How is that? Is that really? How are you connected to those or what? Oh, that's awesome, man. That's really awesome, dude. That's really cool. What a cool story. Okay, Lego rolls 9. I mean, like, not cool story, bro, but legitimately an actual cool story. Okay, so 9. So 9 and 6 is 15. You need a 7 to tie. Or actually, wait. 9 and 8 is 17. He needs an 11 to tie, 12 to beat. He gets a 7. You sink your sword into your side. Okay, now. That's really awesome, Tim. Now the second roll, the second thief. So now, again, another attack roll. This one is just to see whether or not you're able to ward him off. So, can you ward him off is the question. What's that second roll, Lego? That's really cool, though, Multi. I like it. Something in my eye. Another 9. Ward her off. These 9s, man. You got some new dice that got you all 9s now for a change. Okay, let's see, that's 17, so he needs a 9 to tie, 10 to beat. He gets a 7, does not do it. Okay, so you manage to, sort of deflect his attack. Now the second bigger thief comes in at you again. Sort of to our side. Yeah, he's rolling physical dice. Okay, now, once again, you're rolling against the big thief. This is to actually do damage to him. Oh no, a 3. Uh-oh. 11. He needs a 5 to tie, a 6 to beat. He got a 6. He just beat you. Oh my god. Doof. Sinks into your side. Okay. The roll command is not really being worked on, EMC. It's my fault. Alright, your turn now. Second round. Now this is just to deflect the other sword. He puts a nasty gash into your arm. $10. All right, so that's a 18. So we need a 13 to tie. I think you're all set. Okay, so you managed to ward him off. Okay, now we're back up to the top again. So once again, now this roll is against the big thief. Put a nasty gash into my heart. This combat system is better than Skyrim's. All right. Next roll. What's it going to be, Lego? Ah, 10. All right, that's an 18. So he has a 12 to tie. Can't beat you with a 13. He gets a 5. Blam. You strike him again. Sucking chest wound. He's like, backs up. All right. Now it is the second thief's turn. Again, this is just to deflect the second thief. Would roll again. I should totally institute a critical rule, except if I institute a critical hit, I would have to institute a critical hit for them, too. A 4, huh? All right, a 12. That means he needs a 7 to tie, an 8 to beat. He gets an 8. Ugh. Poof. I think you're misunderstanding what's going on with this second thief, Tim. I think you have this idea about the second thief that's not being delivered. All right, back to the first thief, who's looking kind of in rough shape. $12. Oh my god. Combo breaker. He rolls a 7. Waplam. He staggers backwards. He's kind of like he's bleeding all over the floor, stumbling around. All right. Now the second thief comes in roaring vengeance. Now what with the second story? I mean with the second round against this guy. Hacks. I love that emote. Wrecked, not wrecked. That's such a cool thing. 9. All right. That is a 17, so he needs a 12 to tie, a 13 to beat. Does not get the 12 to tie, so he does no damage. Top of the round again. Okay, this guy's got 1 stamina left. He's using cheat engine. He's doing well with these dice. No, he's gotten a couple of bad rolls. All right, the first thief. First thief has got 1 stamina left. Can you defeat the first thief and turn your attention to the second one? I know, right? 11. Oh my goodness, 11, 19. He needs a 13 to tie. He does not get it. He strikes the ground. He goes, and his sword like flies out of his hand. The second thief looks down, looks up, goes, and like charges you. All right, now this is the last round where you just have to deflect the thief. After this, you can be fighting the thief normally. So this one, you're still deflecting the second thief. So one more on the second thief here. So this one is just to deflect that second thief. $10. 15. Let's see, it's 18, so he needs a 13 to tie. Didn't get it. All right. Now you're fighting this guy straight up. Now you're fighting straight up. Second thief versus you. All right. Glacius wins. Fatality. All right, a 6. So a 14. He needs a 9 to tie, a 10 to beat. He does not get it. Well, blam. You poke him. He staggers back. He's like, you'll pay for that, you freak of Legos. He says. Fortunately, this guy's pretty weak. All right. You guys are up. Your turn, Lego. Go ahead and make that second roll now that you're just attacking him straight up. Hey, a 7. I knew it was coming. 15 needs a 10 to tie and 11 to beat. He does not get it. For blam. I think it's going to be hard to romance the second thief who's like breathing. He's like... He's like barely hanging together. He sort of staggers at you, kind of weakly waves his sword around. What's that next roll going to be, Lego? He's at your mercy. A 5, okay. 13, so he needs an 8 to tie, a 9 to beat. He does not get it. Huh! And he slides to the ground dead. Well done, guys. The other two thieves run for it when they see how skillfully you dispatch their ferocious friend. You are left alone in the shop with the dead jeweler. Now, before I go on with the dead jeweler, let me just quickly ask. Before you go on with the dead jeweler, let me ask whether or not you guys want to eat provisions or not. Because you're in an empty slot and you're down by 4 stamina. So do you want to eat one of your provisions to bring you up to 15 or not? Yeah, there were 2 others, but they ran when they saw how you killed their big friend. You were left alone in the shop with the dead jeweler. Yeah, we don't need a poll for this. Just tell me if you want to or not. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Eat. Eat. Okay, good. Smoke provisions. All right. So you're down to 6 provisions and 15. Okay. You are left alone in the shop with the dead jeweler. His eyes seem to gaze at you in mute reproach. Will you pick up the closed sign and try to open... Will you put up the closed sign and try to open the jeweler's safe? Or do you wish to leave immediately in case you were accused of murder? So, will you put up the closed sign and try to open the jeweler's safe? Or leave immediately in case you were accused of murder? Night. The jeweler is not female. It was a male with a monocle. Thank you, Apples. Are you going to try to open the safe or leave in case you're accused of murder? Murder. We have the dice on our side. This is the monocle female. Yeah, sorry, guys. Can you reopen that poll? My bad, guys. Vote again. I'm sorry. I apologize. I meant to check the statistics. I didn't mean to close it. That was too fast. Sorry. Sorry. My bad. My bad. Please revote. I apologize. Choose Dragon Warrior. What's up, Porquitos? Is the safe female. 13 votes for open safe. 5 votes for leave. Okay. Alright. And choose Goku. All right. So here we go. All right. 13 people say to open the safe. All right. Here we go. You choose to open the safe. As you reach for the safe, a blinding sheet of flame envelops you. The safe was fire-trapped, and you have been fried. Just bear with me for a second. Samara Heist. It was a good run through the land of Orb. You tried to do the best you could. You tried to make it when no one else thought you could manage it. But you got greedy. You killed a jeweler for no reason, and then decided that you would try to open an obviously trapped safe. And as a consequence, you paid for your transgression with your life. So Mara, we will never forget you. You will live on in our hearts and our memories. And at the moment, you will live on as a piece of barbecued shish kebab. So Mara Heist, we wish you good speed. And may God speed you to your rest. Oh, man. Your spirit floats gently towards the Valley of Death. The featureless, wind-blasted plain stretches away endlessly beyond the horizon. The souls of the dead wander there aimlessly in solitude. Just as you approach the edge of the valley, an ethereal wind gets up and your soul is wafted away. Soon you feel yourself in the presence of the two who summoned you to this fantastic world of magic. The eyeless being in robes of shifting hues says, "All is not yet lost." You understand the words without hearing them. If your spirit is willing, we will reunite it with your body and turn back the wheels of time. The other being offers you a choice. If you wish it, I will send you back in time. He lays a hand on your shoulder. They disappear, and you were alive again. Now, fortunately, you guys had saved M. Night Shyamalan. We're just actually done this one, the feels. So, you guys have actually, because of the save point, fortunately for you, you guys have actually managed to get back to pretty close to where you were already because we had just saved before this. So you are now back at number 85. Yeah, playing Prince of Persia. Yeah, exactly. So, turning down Silver Street. So you guys are back on Silver Street. Turning down Silver Street, you are startled to hear by what sounds like men's voices whispering nearby. You soon realize that a trick of the wind is carrying their words to you through a broken piece of pipe, which connects a ramshackle house to an open drain. There are 3 of them, and it seems that they are planning to rob the jewelers, which you can plainly see on the bend of Silver Street. There is a shabby staircase leading up to the house, and you creep towards it. Will you go up the staircase, walk quickly to the jewelers, or ignore this and turn into Store Street? What's it going to be, guys? Go up staircase, go quickly to jewelers, or ignore and turn to Soul Street. Hold on a second. The poll is open, I think. There we go. Okay. Now you may proceed. Thanks, Law. Thief number 2 broke my heart, so I choose 1. Whip open the safe and leap out of the way. You think so, bend up? Do you think that's an option? That's a viable option, you think? Interesting. Interesting theory. Interesting concept. All right. Last call, last call. Last call on this. Wow, 9 people to go up the staircase, 8 people to go quickly to the jewelers, and 1 person to ignore. All right, last choice. Alrighty. Tie. It's a tie. And Law says, go up the staircase. Alright. Staircase. Staircase. Alright, here it is. You guys are going to go up the staircase. Just as you were about to enter the bare, roofless room, a rotten stair breaks, betraying your presence. Realizing that they may have been overheard, one of the thieves runs off across a nearby rooftop. The other 2 mean-looking thugs in brown breeches attack you. They try to come at you from different sides, but after springing up the last stairs, your footwork is too good for them, and you hold the stairway where they can only come at you one at a time. You must fight them in order. So the good news here, people, is that you actually get to fight them in order, as opposed to fighting them at the same time. All right. There we go, people. So you get to fight them in order. So it starts with the first thief and then the second thief. So let's do it up. Lego, you're going to be rolling again. We're going to fight the first thief and then the second thief in order. That's the way it's going to go. Don't do it. They have the higher ground.
We're almost like... I know. Like, I feel like each video... Cool. I feel like each video just gets like more and more like that. We don't even like each other anymore. Someone made a comment about that one time. Yeah. Like, it's like, remember in their old videos when they used to look at each other and nod and laugh and stuff? And now it's like they're not even looking at each other when they play. Yeah, now it sounds way better too. It's like something must have happened. They must be pissed off at each other. Yeah, definitely. So much drama. So much drama in SGB. SDB. Super Drama Bros.
All right. Lego writes with a 10. So that's 18. So you need a 12 to tie. 13 to beat. Didn't get it. All right, you hit that first thief. It's like, huh! Staggers back a couple of stairs. All right. You guys start with a good strike. Second strike. All right, next one is a 9. So 9, that's 17. That means he needs an 11 to tie, a 12 to beat. Does not get either. Blam. You hit him again. He drops down to 3 stamina. 3 stamina. He sort of holds on groggily to one of the banisters on the stairs. Then moves his sword out. All right, Lego, what's that next one? An 8. 16, so he needs a 12 to tie. He gets an 11. Oh, wait a minute. What did I get? You got an 8? An 8 is 16. Oh, so an 11 actually beats you. So he actually manages to somehow avoid your attack. Strikes a blow against you. Like, huh! The second one, though, with an 11. That's a 19, and he does not get there. So that's 1. All right. So now you guys, now he's down to 1 stamina. 1 stamina. All right, sounds good. Thanks, UGplex. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by again, dude, and thanks for all the tweets. Much appreciated. That's what I try for, Cat. Hopefully you'll be back with us, UG. Good to see you again, man. All right, a 2, a 10. All right, so they need a 4 to tie, a 5 to beat. They get a 5. They just beat. He's back up to 7 provisions. Okay. Then he gets a 7. 7 plus it's 15. An 8 is 16. That is not enough. The first thief slumps to the ground dead. Hey, what's up, Grand Duke? How you been, man? Awesome, dude. Sounds good, chummer. All right, second thief time. Well done, Lego. Second thief time. Well done, guys. Now you've only got the 1 thief left. A 9. 17. He needs a 10 to tie. An 11 to beat. He gets a 6. Drops down to 4. I just burned 2 orders watching this combat. 5. That's okay, so a 5 is a 13, so he needs a 6 to tie, a 7 to beat. He gets a 4. Not good enough. The second thief is not skilled enough. He's down to 2 stamina. Sort of sways back and forth. 8 and 8 is a 16. He needs a 9 to tie, a 10 to beat. He gets a 6. Whew. He sort of slumps down to the ground. Dead. You search the 2 thieves and find 6 gold pieces. All right. You guys find 6 gold pieces. There you go. Now you're up to 16 whole gold pieces. Good job, guys. Well done. Well, he falls back on top of the other guy behind him is the thing, Lego, so that's why. Good job, guys. Okay, same question that I asked before. Provision, remember this, you ate the provision after the fight the last time when you were down 4. So do you guys want to eat the provision now to do that again? We rolling into money. Now we go kill the jeweler. Now you go check out his safe. So you guys want to eat this last provision? And then just as a sort of a programming note, after that we have about 10 minutes or so, guys, before we do a giveaway and a raid. So, eat or not. Again, don't, no, we don't need a poll on this. Just tell me if you want to eat or not. Eat, 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 eat. We have 4, 5 for eat, 1 for no. 6 for yes. 7, 8. Okay, it looks like eating is pretty strongly going to win. So 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. You continue down Silver Street past the jeweler's, which is closed, and turn left into a tree-lined avenue called Booker's Walk. 2 very grand buildings built of blocks of gray stone stand on either side of the road. A group of young people in blue togas, escorted by a white-haired old man in pale blue robes, enters the building opposite. A flag showing books and scrolls is flying from the nearest building. It appears to be a library. Will you see what information the library has to offer, or will you investigate the other building to find out what the young people are doing? What's it going to be, guys? Do you want to see what information is at the library? Or, nice, Optic, cool, man. Or do you want to find out what the young people are doing? Good to see you, Polar. What's up, man? So, library or other building? We got some people initially are like, what's going on with the young people? But then you're like, library. Library versus young people. It's a metaphor for our times. Who will win, the library or the young people? All right, thanks, Netowin. Thanks for making this program as always. Good to see you, my friend. Don't be a stranger. Thanks for stopping by. You guys should follow Netowin if you haven't already. Someday he will stream again. I know it'll happen someday. Good to see you again, Net. All right. But they're not as classic music and they're sock hops. That's funny. All right. So it looks like anyone else? Anyone else? Whoa! What the heck? What? Lego my ego. Also Lego my giveaway. Who is this from? I just got something. Okay, so who just sent me a copy of Lego Marvel Superheroes? Who is this so I can properly thank you? Thank you very much. I don't want to say who it is in case they don't want their name read out, but who is this? Like, I mean, in case they don't want their real name read out. Oh, thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Very nice. Very nice of you, Ben. Appreciate it. Thanks, dude. Just gave me Lego Marvel Superheroes. Good job, man. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that very much. Added to the list. To the giveaway list, which I will be using in just a little bit. Hey, what's up, Gamermain? Okay. Okay, library it is. Yeah, I bet, actually. Let's see. I bet you would. The entrance hall of the library is filled with desks at which scribes are working, copying books and scrolls. Reclining on a plush window seat is a wrinkled old fellow in the pale blue robes of a scholar. You feel out of place wearing armor in the quiet of the library where the... What? What? Hold on a second. I was just given Starbound by Durbin. Thank you, dude. Durb, man. Appreciate it, man. That's not necessary, dude, but thank you so much. That is also going into the list. I just gave away a game from Durbin last night, actually. You guys should be following Durbin if you aren't already. He's a good guy and a good streamer. He just needs to stop playing horror games so I can watch him more. Thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate that very much, dude. Thank you, Derb. Okay. Where was I? Yes. You feel out of place wearing... Thanks again, Derb. You feel out of place wearing armor in the quiet of the library where the stillness is broken only by the scratching of pens. Welcome to the largest library in the Man March, says the sage. Choose any tome or scroll you may wish to peruse. Perhaps I may be of assistance. What is your field of study? Will you ask to read something about the gods, or ask to read about the history of Grey Guilds. So what's going to be, guys? Do you want to read something about the gods? Or do you want to read about the history of Grey Guilds? Grey Guilds is the city where you are right now, by the way. What's it going to be? Oh my god, what? Another... Thank you, Shadow. Jeez, man. Deus Ex Game of the Year edition. Thank you very much, Shadow Gazer. Let me mark that in there. Thanks very much, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, Shadow. Grey Guilds or the gods. Yeah, studying in a role play. Shadow Gazer. Wow, tied. 9 people want to read about the gods. 9 people want to hear about the history of Grey Guilds. Tough call, tough call. Tied up, guys. What's it going to be? No, I don't break ties. It's up to you guys to do that. Night is God. Okay, the gods have pulled ahead. Oh, is that really true, gamer? I hadn't heard that. Oh, man. What's up, Wheels? You guys are evenly split. Evenly split. All right, we need someone to break this tie, folks. Nice, Wheels. Glad you got it back. Looks like Vote of Gods wins. All right. Done. All right, you're going to read about the gods. 196. The sage shows you to a side room. Oops, sorry. Wrong place. My bad. 336. There we go. Right. Okay. The sage directs you to the Book of the Gods, a large leather-bound tome inlaid with gold leaf. Turning the gilt-edged pages, you realize the gods of Orb are many. You recognize a symbol on one of the pages as being the token borne by the warrior women. Their goddess is Fel Karinla, sword mistress of the heavens. She is sworn to oppose Roshaval the Good, god of paladins. So in other words, the sword maiden, the warrior women that found you, were basically working for the bad guys. To your excitement, you discover a reference to the Talisman. Some believe that it can be used to command the undead minions of death. Turning the page, you come to a reference to the All-Mother, nature herself, preserver of life, who cares for all. Then you see a bizarrely illustrated page dealing with Anarkil, breaker of edifices, who spurns order. You are just learning of Avatar the One, essence of light, when you realize that it has grown dark while you were reading. You thank the sage and leave quickly, hoping to find a safe place to sleep. So let me mark down those notes. Let me mark down those notes here. Let's see.
Greetings! We are the Super Guitar Bros, and we are making a Patreon page.
Okay, let's see. Okay. There we go. Excellent. All right. Okay, there we go. Excellent. All right, cool. All right, last entry coming up here, guys. Last entry. You thank the sage and leave quickly, hoping to find a safe place to sleep. You leave the building and continue on down Booker's Walk. The streets are already deserted and there are a few lights in this part of the city. You search for the welcoming light of an inn. Then, without warning, the steel teeth of a hidden man-trap snap shut around your leg, ripping your flesh. You are in terrible pain. Lose 2 stamina points. Shadowy figures loom out of the murk all around you. Their faces glow with a sickly pallor in the moonlight. They are wearing black robes clasped at the neck by shrunken human skulls. You still have the Talisman of Death, so... We are the priesthood of death, says one of the figures. We have come for what is ours. Your arms are held and you are searched. The talisman is torn from you by their leader. I have it, brothers! I have it! He exclaims in triumph. Now may our Lord enter his kingdom. They cheer loudly, oblivious to the approach of a large group of riders. Stand! Make no move! A woman's voice rings out. It is the watch. One of the priests mumbles an unholy incantation. You see a wave of fear break over the women and their steeds. Some cannot control their horses, others flee, but the bravest charge the priest with loud cries of battle. The priests are unprepared. Some are knocked to the ground, others make good their escape as silently as they came. The talisman falls to the ground, its bearer decapitated as he turns to flee. It is caught up by one of the watch, who announces her intention of taking it to the temple of Fel Kyrinla. They wheel their horses and ride away, leaving you to rot. You have lost the talisman. Cursing bitterly, you resolve that if you escape, you will not rest until you have regained it. All right, so the temple, there you go, guys. The temple of Fel Kyrinla has got it. Yeah. Yeah, so... sucks. Hey, what's up, man? Good night, man. So the good news is you're not dead. The bad news is that you lost the Talisman of Death. Which is what will bring the end of the world. That's all. You know, just saying. Just saying. All right. So let's see. Blah, 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 blah. You are left alone to wonder, and this is the last entry here, sorry guys, or the last 2 entries, I should say. You are left alone to wonder how the law keepers of the city could be so cruel as to leave an innocent person in such dire straits. You tear feverishly at the trap, terrified of some footpad slitting your throat for his own vile amusement. Soft footsteps approach. You look over your shoulder and see a man approaching. Here, he says, Let me rescue you from this trap. He steps on the release catch, which had been out of your reach, and the trap springs open. You step free, and he walks along by your side. Have you a place to stay tonight? Perhaps you would like to sleep in my humble abode, he says, looking sideways at you. You are curious that he should be walking the streets alone at night, but you are also exhausted. Will you accept his offer of shelter, or will you decline his offer? What's it going to be, guys? Will you accept his offer? He did just free you from a trap. Nothing big of us may happen. Well, I mean, they do make a good point that he could have slit your throat already while you were stuck in the trap. Seems kind of weird that he'd be like, here, come with me, and then I will kill you. But he could be psychotic. I'm suspicious of all human beings. Unless he's a sadist who wants all the torture for himself. What's up, Shattermage? Oh, glob. Okay, accept shelter 10, decline 5. Alright, last call. Alright, accept it is. The man's house, and I think I may actually have a picture of this. Let me see if I have a picture. Hold on. I think I may have a picture. Hold on here. Yes, I do have a picture. Yes, I do. Alright, let me show you what the picture is. Okay. Okay, here we go. The man's house is a small stone bungalow. He leads you into his bedroom and offers you a straw-filled mattress behind a curtain. Thankful for the chance to rest, you go to sleep without asking any questions. You sleep deeply and regain 4 stamina points. You wake to find that your host is sitting watching you. I hope you are well rested. You talked in your sleep. He smiles at you and says, "Do you need help? Has someone stolen something from you? How did you come to be trapped alone in the street late at night? Do you wish to tell him the whole story and ask him for advice, or prefer to say that you cannot answer?" So he didn't kill you. So tell him the whole story and ask for advice, or say you can't answer. What's it going to be? I watch you while you sleep. I watch you while you sleep. You guys are funny. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, again, like, what you guys said is true. He didn't kill you. I mean, he trapped you. I mean, rather, not he trapped you. He came across you while you were trapped. He didn't kill you then. He could have. Then he brought you back to the house. He could have killed you a second time. This is a very elaborate... This is like 11th dimensional chess if he still wants to kill you. Everybody everyone in fantasy books have skulls. Maybe the skull is his grandma. A man of magic. Could be. He'd be the one nice guy in the whole town. Alright. Alrighty. So you tell him the whole story and ask him for advice. He says, I will destroy you. No, he doesn't do that. He says, you tell him everything and he listens with growing amazement. He introduces himself as Apothecus, a sage of history. I have heard of the Talisman of Death. You must recover it at all costs. He suggests that you enlist the help of the Thieves' Guild, as he doesn't think you can recapture it alone. It'll be in the temple to Fel Kyrinla by now, I'll warrant. Hawkana, the High Priestess, will be holding it there. Go to the Red Dragon Inn on the Street of Seven Sins. It is dangerous, but you may make contact with the thieves there. He gives you a breakfast of savory pancakes. This guy's all right. He gives you a breakfast of savory pancakes. It's all of a sudden... Do you guys... I don't know if anyone ever watched The Chappelle Show. Do you remember the skit, if any of you watched The Chappelle Show, where the guy goes, the true Charlie Murphy stories, where he goes over and plays basketball with Prince, and Prince serves them pancakes for some reason? Oh, I don't know. Something cracked me up. He gives you a breakfast of savory pancakes and invites you to dinner that evening, saying that he will try to discover more to aid you. In the meantime, he says, take these. He hands you 5 pieces of gold and gives you a ring. It is a ring which increases your skill at arms. Add 1 to your skill score while wearing this ring. Now, you can't go above your initial score, but if you lose skill, then that ring basically will stand in for that. So it's like you have a skill buffer now, if you will. Shirts and blouses. Pancakes. Right? So you have a buffer, basically. As you leave, he gives you a jade rose. When you return this evening, show this, and I will know that you are not a shape changer. You thank him for his help and leave the bungalow. Will you go to the Red Dragon Inn or head for the temple? And basically, I think what I'm going to do is I will save it at this spot, and I will, when we start the next time, I will read through those again so that we are able to remember where we are. So see you guys, you trusted him, and it worked out all right. So you've got a jade rose. Let me enter this stuff. All right, and let's see.